What is up, everybody? I am Enokh Xmortiz, sitting here with my boy L4Gen, and this is the Rotten Rewind podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
Damn right. Back for episode 3. You guys thought we were done after 2, but here we are again.
We're back, like Maniac Cop, for the 3rd time.
Yeah, and then a 4th time, and a 5th, and 100 times after that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna kick this one off right with the good old hit from my new piece. Shit is like a fucking trip. I call it the Squidussy.
The Squidussy?
It just, something about it reminds me of squids, you know? It's just like weird
it
looking.
definitely does. It definitely does.
I'm in a good mood today, I gotta say.
That shirt though.
Oh, yeah. So there's a cool story behind this. When I was in Salem last year on my honeymoon, we were in this shop. It was like a witchy kind of store, and they really didn't have a whole lot of stuff in there that I would buy. But then I see this little room in the back. It's like the size of a closet. And I'm like, what's this? And I go and check it out, and I see this fucking thing hanging up way up high for $20. It's the only one in the whole store. I was like, what the fuck? I gotta grab that shit. So here I am.
Yeah, that's legit. Today I'm rocking this Freddy VS Jason original t-shirt that dropped when the movie did. For today.
I've never seen one of those before, and that's perfect for today because of what we're talking about. Yeah,
exactly.
But we're not there yet. Let's roll right into this one. We are going to talk about overrated horror movies.
Yeah, let's dive into this. This will be a fun one. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, for sure. And I got a lot of them to talk about, but I had to kind of narrow it down to.
I narrowed it down to 3.
3. That's a good number. To start mine off, I gotta go with, I got old ones and new ones in here, and I'm gonna start with the new ones. And I gotta say, Hereditary.
That's my number 1.
I bet it was. It's like, it's so overrated, man. Like, I watched it one time, and I didn't get it. It just went over my head.
I've watched it. I've given it a chance 4 times. Right? 4 times I've watched it.
Yeah.
And each time I don't know if I get anything out of it like that. You know, it has its scenes, I think were like kind of cool, like the mom headbutting the attic door. Like, that scene was cool. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that like wannabe art house style of horror where it tries to be more than horror. It tries to be like this upper echelon type of film.
I got nothing from it because I watched it on the heels of Midsommar, and I love Midsommar, right? Great film. But then I watched that one because I was told that it's made by the same people, right? And I went into it, and I gave it my full attention the whole fucking way through, and I don't remember anything from it. I couldn't even tell you one scene. All I remember is that kid, the kid that it keeps showing, the ugly-ass kid.
Yeah, the kid who gets her head smashed with the pole. That scene is funny, but I wish they showed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they utilize that more of like you just get the sense of what happened. You see
if they would have showed it, I would have remembered it. But I remember nothing from that movie, and it's just so over. Everybody talks about it and references it and mentions it, and I'm just like, what are you guys fucking talking about?
Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of those type of movies per se. Like, I thought Midsommar was okay. I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was alright. I just thought that was like a bootleg of The Wicker Man.
That's fair. Is that on your list too? Is Midsommar one of your list?
Oh no. My next one is that new movie that came out, Black Phone. There's a lot of people hyping this up, and so I was like, all right. And I went and I watched it, and I was like, okay, like, this really didn't have much going for it. Like, you got some ghost kids, you don't really see anything, bunch of flashbacks, and the whole movie just felt kind of like not complete, it's just a real shallow story, and it just wasn't for me.
That's really interesting you bring that one up, because I love that movie, and I actually just watched it again last week, just this last week, so it's perfect that you brought that up, because now I got it fresh in my head. I could understand why you wouldn't like it, because I don't know, like, you have very wide tastes of horror, so I guess I shouldn't put you in a box or anything like that, but it is tame in comparison to some of the shit that you've showed me. It's very mellow. What I did like about it was the fact that it was the idea of it was so basic. It's a guy who kidnaps kids. The reason I like that is because I've never seen that I can think of an actual movie that did that and did it well, where it was just basic. It was just that. Beware of the kidnapper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, I like those kind of films, like Summer of '84. I love that movie. Summer of '84 is in my opinion, a masterpiece. That movie is great. You know, I just felt like that movie has left a lot to be answered in my mind. Like they could have done so much more added. And you know, like the daughter having like these psychic abilities type thing going on, and the abusive father, and I don't know. It just felt like, you know, run of the mill to me.
So you know that Stephen King's son is the one who wrote that story, right?
For real?
Yeah, he wrote that. So the girl having psychic abilities, I'm guessing, is her shining, because in the whole lore of Stephen King, there's different characters who have the shine.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you can't just come off your dad's work and try to establish something inside that continuity that has nothing to do with it. And nobody, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, yeah, that's a little reach there, I guess. But hey, if his first movie, not bad. But
yeah, I don't think he made the movie. I think he just wrote it.
But then again, Stephen King never made any of his own movies either. So you know what I'm saying? Well, maybe he did. I think he directed one or something, but.
Yeah, he's rarely affiliated with the films, and from what I've been told, he hates most of the movies that get made out of his books, you know?
Yeah, he had a thing for Kubrick, and Stanley Kubrick's a genius, so for him to... I mean, I understand. You know, there's two versions of The Shining. There's one that came out... Like, there's two different movies. I had no idea about that.
Isn't one of them a TV series, though?
Yeah. You know, just like the original It was like that for TV thing, then... Yeah, or Rose Red, or The Stand, or Golden Years. You know, Stephen King has a way of getting his stuff into like these TV movies.
Yeah, so I think the TV series was filmed at, I believe it was the Overlook Hotel in Colorado. I think that's what it's called. And so I actually went there in 2016. Me and my buddy were road tripping through Colorado on our way to see another buddy, and we stopped off there just to see the infamous hotel.
That's
that kind of
so sick, dude.
Yeah. And it wasn't filmed, it wasn't used in the movies or anything. That one was the Timberline Hotel, sorry, down in what the fuck is it called? Can't think right now. Oregon. I've
been trying to get my hands on the carpet. I want to get carpet in my studio, and I want the Shining carpet, but it is so hard to find.
Yeah, I can imagine. You'd have to get that custom made.
Yeah, because I don't want it the same colors. I want it black and purple.
Oh yeah, good luck. You're definitely gonna have to get that custom made.
Oh, it'll come. It'll happen. Watch, sooner or later.
Moving forward, This one, let's flip the script because you just said black phone. You're gonna hate me for this, man. I gotta say, I don't understand why Army of Darkness has so much hype.
This dude with the Necronomicon right next to me, this guy's got to go. This guy's got to go. He just doesn't get it. He's done.
Don't get me wrong, Enokh. I love Ash. I love The Evil Dead. I love the TV series. I love the movies, and I love the third one too. But I still think that it's overhyped because out of all the movies and shows and stuff, that's my least favorite entry. And it's the most talked about that I hear people reference. They're like, I love Army of Darkness. People that don't even love horror movies love Army of Darkness. And I get lost in it.
Army of Darkness, they completely wanted to spoof off of the Three Stooges with a complete slapstick with it. And, you know, that was my favorite as a kid for those reasons. You know, I think that's what makes Ash such an iconic character. If they didn't do Army of Darkness, would Ash be as much of an icon as he is? I don't think he would be, because it gave him this wholesome image that allowed Evil Dead. You know, like you said, a lot of people know Army of Darkness have never watched the originals, you know, which led them back to it. So I can understand what you're saying from like a true horror fan aspect. But I think that allowed us to have Evil Dead edge its way into pop culture to where it is now. You know, of course we would have had Deadheads no matter what for the first two, but it definitely wouldn't be to where it is now.
Amazingly put, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I wanted you to pitch it in a way that might restore my faith in it, you know. And you have a very good point. Ash probably wouldn't be the Ash that we know without that movie. And I love the beginning of it. That's my favorite part, is the whole part where he's like in the pit and shit. He comes back up with the blue stick and blue stick, you know.
I always look at, say, Evil Dead 2 is the middle point. Like, you know, both obviously chronologically, but metaphorically too. So if you watch the second one, right, it's dark, but has that slapstick value, you know, with his hand and all this. And then you watch the first one, and that's like a real horror movie. And then Army of Darkness is full, you know, slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
And then Evil Dead 2 is right in the middle. It's like Sam decided to make a horror movie and then redo that horror movie with a little bit of comedy, and seeing how much people responded to the horror comedy aspect, and then just dove completely headfirst into the comedic value.
It's almost like Texas Chainsaw 1 to Texas Chainsaw Part 2, you know, from full horror to comedy, you know. Evil Dead 2 is my favorite one out of any.
Mine too.
So good.
It almost has to be, you know, like the talking deer head, like everything coming alive, like all that stuff is amazing.
Yeah, no doubt. What is your next one?
All right, this one is a classic movie that took the world by storm, that I never could get into, never understood, and thought it was just, that's the best I could. The Blair Witch.
Oh shit, the Blair Witch.
The Blair Witch. I mean, it just wasn't for me. Like, found footage. You're hard pressed to find those type of movies that I actually enjoy. You know, As Above, So Below was pretty good, but I'm just not a fan of that camera movement and people moving. It just turns me off. It always has. But the Blair Witch, to me, was just so overrated because it wasn't really even scary in that aspect, but people acted as if it was like the most terrifying film they'd ever seen, you know, and I never fully understood or grasped that.
Now, did you watch it thinking it was real, or did you already know it was fake?
I watched it when I was 6 years old, so I didn't have, you know, so I thought, you know, the rumor was it was real, you know, so I was like, what, 6 or something like that when I watched it?
And it
with my
still
mom.
didn't impress you?
No, because at 6 years old, I was already watching Dead Alive and movies like that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, horror's been my go-to since I was a little kid.
Well, I think it's the feeling of this might be real, and that's what gets people. It's a very different feeling that you get from those types of films than you do from a traditional horror film.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like, look at August Underground. Okay, August Underground is shot in that same exact style. Now, when I first seen August Underground, I was like, 13. And we didn't know much about it, you know, so when we watched it, we're like, yo, this is foul. This is, you know, that is what I think Blair Witch was for the masses. August Underground is like where I found the feeling that those people associate with the Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm. Now, I can understand it. You know, I don't love the movie. I don't hate it, but it's boring as shit. You know, once you know that it's fake and you watch it, you're like, what's the point? It's just people running around in the woods.
I like the second one.
Never even saw the second one. I didn't even give it a chance.
The second one is an actual movie. Yeah. So it's a movie about how the first one was like a movie or like, I don't know, but it's shot in the same like normal style that a film is shot. And I enjoyed that.
I might have to check it out. We'll see. I don't know.
Book of Shadows. I think that's what it's called.
I seen it for sale once and I was like, man, I don't know if it's worth it, and I just let it sit.
If I remember correctly, they like do things in the movie where they'll have like a certain number of padlocks on something, but then they'll change it in the next scene. So they're like always doing like these little things inside the movie. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's all right. So keeping it going, I got a couple that I don't necessarily want to rant on about because they're ones that you've already known I had to bring up in my list. The Conjuring. Fucking hate that movie. Hate all of them.
I don't understand that. I love paranormal ghost movies, and I love the setting of The Conjuring. I love the camera style, the lighting. I thought it was beautifully made. The movie itself is pretty, you know, but everything else is fucking incredible, and I enjoy it. I watch it every year.
Well, I got Annabelle on the list too because I fucking hate Annabelle. And
The
it's
first
just,
Annabelle is the worst, the worst, dude. That's no good.
well, I got to be honest. I haven't seen all the Annabelles and I haven't seen all the Conjurings, but I've seen enough to where I was just like, nah. I've never finished an entire one just because I got
You watched
bored.
The Conjuring 2?
No, I get bored
Oh, that
playing them.
one's the first two. I actually really enjoy the Conjuring series. What do you think about Insidious?
I love Insidious. See, but that's different because it's like astral projection, and that's something I have experience with, and I have experienced out of body type stuff. So that one I can get really into. But the other ones, it's just they feel boring to me. I get really bored, and then again, what we mentioned with the badly produced jump scares, I just get like pissed. You know, I'm like, I've been sitting here this whole time, and they hit me with a shit jump scare, and the visuals I don't care for. I don't know. I'm really picky about shit like that. I'd rather see like splatter, gore, and like in your face horror than that shit.
See, I'm just a sucker for Paranormal Activity movies. Not Paranormal Activity, the actual movies. Those are horrendous. I'm not into that. I don't like that stuff at all. But like The Entity, you know, like these. They don't do many good ghost movies like they do, you know. And like The Conjuring is like the best thing that we can get lately, because most of the ghost movies are real, you know.
I mean, one of these days, I might give it another shot. I might try to get through the Conjuring movies with a more open mind. I'm just not there yet. I'm getting there, though. I'm getting sick of bitching about it. So I'll probably switch it up.
Yeah, dude, watch the first two and then just like, I enjoy when that, I forget his name. Why can't I ever think of his name? I always get him confused with Ty West, but it's not Ty West. The director of those. He did the Saw movies. Why can't I think of his name? But whenever he directs those movies, like, I enjoy his movies for the most part. You know, like Dead Silence I thought was okay. Malignant I thought was a fun ride. People hated that movie, but I loved the jail scene. That was like the coolest.
I just like the contortionist actions in Malignant, the way that she like rips her body around and shit. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, I did not expect that. And that one really took me for a ride. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. It's original. It's something new.
So I want to ask, how do you feel about the original Friday the 13th?
It's all right. You know, it's not nothing whenever I rewatch them, I don't ever really rewatch that one or the second one. I always start at number 3 and work my way up.
Yeah, we briefly talked about it, and I think that one's a little bit overrated, at least for the people that I talk to. And what I see online, everybody's like, that's a classic, you know, kicked off the whole thing. I get that, but it's not what the franchise is known for, and it's boring to me.
If I'm a sucker for 80s camp movies, right?
Listen.
And if I'm gonna go and I'm in that mood to watch something like that, I go straight to The Burning. The Burning is a far superior ripoff of Friday the 13th. You know, to me, The Burning is what people thought or praised Friday the 13th, the original one, to be. The Burning is far superior. Or Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, we'll get to Sleepaway Camp. We're talking about that one today too. Yeah, it's definitely one that I only watch once every, like, I don't even know, however many couple of years, and then I'll put on the original Friday the 13th for a refresher, but it's not my go-to. Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, did you have any other ones, or was that it for yours?
Nope, I think that's it for me. We'll keep it moving.
I got a couple quick ones. Old school one, House. You seen House?
I seen all 4.
Oh, shit.
What are you talking about?
You can hate on me for this one because I only seen the first one and I just thought it was stupid as shit.
Oh no, they're not good. None of them are good. Not a single one of them are good.
Are they meant to be bad? Is it one of those types of movies?
I don't know what the end goal was with making those movies. The second one goes completely off the hinges. The third one even further, and the fourth is it gets bad. Like if you thought the first one was bad, dude, sit down through all 4.
See, it's almost like there's a difference between a movie that was meant to be so bad that it could be enjoyed, and then a movie that was supposed to be serious and good and scary, and it was just a flop. And I can't tell if it's which one it is. If it's meant to be cheap and shitty, and then I can get behind it, but.
Like Trolls 2. I love Trolls 2. It's the worst ever, but it's good. So I don't really know, but I always went into those movies expecting that. I always go into those type of movies expecting the worst, and if it turns out that it's like actually like golden type of movie where I'm like, wow, super impressed and bonus. But if I go in there already assuming that it's gonna be that type, then I'm never really let down because I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of figured.
And we are back on the Rotten Rewind. We are here to try to settle an age-old debate that has been going on since, 2003? And that is the debate on Freddy versus Jason. Who really won the fight? Who won it? Enokh, who do you think won?
In my opinion, I gotta go with the hometown hero, Jason Voorhees.
Fuck out of here. Nah. Freddy won that shit. Freddy won that fight, and I got reasons why.
All right. What you got then? You want to start off? Go for it. You're the one trying to prove your point. Let's hear it.
Yep, okay. So, to preface this, I gotta say, it's clear Jason got 19 kills in that movie. He got the majority of the kills. Freddy got 1 kill. 2 if we're counting the mother in the flashback dream sequence. So, Jason got the lead on who got the most kills, but this isn't about that. This is about who won mano y mano. You know what I'm saying? So the way I look at it, right? Freddy was the one pulling the strings. We all know that. Jason wouldn't have even come back if it wasn't for Freddy, right? That says something power-wise. That says something, I think. Now, Freddy was kind of steering Jason here and there. He was using him, manipulating this motherfucker, right? Throughout the whole movie until Jason gets off his leash and starts going crazy. Now, when it comes down to it, and you got these motherfuckers in the dream world, first off, which Freddy put him there. Freddy fucking stepped out of his dream world, is like, I'm face this motherfucker and I'm gonna bring him to me. Knocks his ass the fuck out with the syringes, right? Brings him into the dream world, and what's he do? He kicks his ass. How many minutes? Like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. Like psychologically fucks with him, physically fucks with him. You know what I'm saying? Jason didn't do any of that shit to Freddy. I mean, he physically fucked with him, but he didn't psychologically get in his head, really. So, and this is where I start to think that shit got fucked up. The kids that the movie was about kept interfering with the shit, right? If you would have taken these kids out of the equation at that point that Jason and Freddy started fighting in the dream, I think the whole thing would have been completely different. Because Freddy was fucking him up until, what's her name, Lori, gets up in the dream, and then she's...
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he has hometown advantage, you know? He's got unlimited power there, you know? Now, That's not necessarily an even playing field.
You're right. So it's all fair. And he would have woken up anyways, even though they were about to try to give him mouth-to-mouth to wake him up. He woke up right before that when she's touching his face and whatnot. So he would have woken up from that dream regardless. I don't think he would have died there no matter what.
Yeah, the sedatives would have wore off.
Mm-hmm. But then we get back to the camp, which we're not even going to talk about how they drove from, Springfield, Ohio, all the way to New Jersey to Camp Crystal Lake. I'm pretty sure Camp Crystal Lake takes place in New Jersey in the fucking movie.
Somewhere, yeah. So.
Yeah, and they made that drive in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, Jason made that walk to the very first house from there to Elm Street, and I was like, yeah, this dude huffing.
Yeah, he's just behind the scenes, fucking running.
Yeah.
Nobody sees me. Anyways, so then we get to the camp, right? And we got these two facing off. And at first, Jason is kicking Freddy's ass. Freddy's a little afraid. But you can't tell me he doesn't hold his own in that form, because the way I see it, he was basically technically mortal in a way. He didn't have any super strength, really. He couldn't make shit appear out of nowhere. It's not like when he possessed the kid in the second movie and came back with all of his powers. You know, he entered through a different means of being brought into the world, so he didn't have shit. And he faced off with Jason for quite a while on screen and didn't fucking die. I think, first off, that says a lot. Now, we're going to fast forward a little bit to the dock part after they're, going at it. They're on the dock. It gets to the point where Freddy slices off Jason's fingers. They're gone, right? And then he blinds him with his 2 fucking fingers, right? He fucking blinds Jason. So now Jason doesn't have fingers on his main hand and he doesn't have any vision, right? And as Freddy is going at him on the end of the dock, what happens? Laurie comes in and she fucking shouts at Freddy, causing him to lose focus. He turns and looks at her, and then Jason fucking stabs him or like puts his hand through him or something at that point.
Yeah.
And that's when the fight switches up, and then the explosion blows him off into the water before anything else can happen. So it's almost ambiguous at that point, if I'm using that word correctly, that is, that, you know, we don't really get to see what could have happened had Laurie not interrupted with that fight. Now, those are things that I've always taken into consideration within. Obviously, it was written a certain way so that nobody could say one way or the other who won that fight.
Yeah, they definitely made it that way so there could be discussions like this in the future.
Yeah, and I want to hear what you have to say about it before I keep going on.
Well, mine is pretty straightforward, you know. I look at it like I look at the end result. The end result is Freddy is what? Just a head. And like you said, he's mortal at this point. So what's he gonna do? Regenerate his body? Sure, Jason ain't got no eyes, but he only had one eye to begin with, and that boy was all puffed up and disgusting anyway. So I don't think that boy's been seen for a very long time.
That's a good point.
And
he has like sonar or something.
Yeah, and like he has a whole nother set of fingers. You know what I'm saying? Freddy ain't got a spare body. So and Jason has his head in his hand. And you know, Jason might go and do some high tension level stuff with that head later. You know what I'm saying?
You sick fuck. Oh my god, I can't believe you just said that.
So you don't know.
Oh my god.
If you guys haven't seen High Tension, go watch it and you'll get that metaphor. And, oh no.
That is fucking disgusting, man. That reminds me of this meme that I saw of Jason from Jason Goes to Hell, and apparently he had his makeup that he had on his head, it extended to his entire body. It was a full body makeup for God knows what reason. He's only in the movie for like 12 seconds, but there was a picture of him without any fucking clothes on, just standing there looking all rotten from head to toe, naked, and it's so fucking creepy, dude. I'll see if I could find it, send it to you later.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And plus, all right, so another reason I thought that Jason was like winning in the term, like you said, in the terms of just like mayhem and slaughter. Like, sure, Freddy might have been orchestrating things for a little while, but you know, he was kind of timid when he first came in. You know, like, I think Freddy recognizes how powerful Jason is just in brute force level. You know, and like when they're fighting before the dock, right, when they're first at the camp, I felt like Freddy was just getting it handed to him. You know, sure, Freddy was throwing little slices here and there, but without his powers and just that claw, Freddy's got speed, you know, but all it takes is one. And like I said, the end result speaks for itself, in my opinion. I think Jason walked out of there beefy, blind, nubbed, but still carrying the victory in one hand.
That's fair. You made some good points. And what are your thoughts on Jason being a Deadite? Have you heard those theories about that?
100%. I love it. I hate that movie so much, but I love that. I remember when I first seen it, and I seen the Kandarian dagger and the Necronomicon.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And you know, what really makes me mad is that there was talks about carrying that legacy, right? That whole theory into reality with Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yep.
Right? They made the actual book. So you can go get the graphic novel if you can find it. Super expensive now. But yeah. And that was the original idea to go feed, you know, they wanted to bring that to reality on the screen, which I think would have been insane. And of course, you know, my boy Ash wins.
Yeah, we wouldn't be having this discussion if they did, because Ash would have won it. We all know that. He would have sent both of them back to hell. That's how it would have gone. Could
you imagine the one-liners between Ash and Freddy?
Oh, God, it would just go back.
The whole movie just be them zinging each other.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
And Jason just standing there.
You know, we're going to get to a point with AI where they're going to be able to recreate Freddy Krueger, and he's going to look and sound just like Robert Englund, and he's going to be no different than if Robert Englund was doing it. And as weird as it might be, I'm all for it, because I want to see it, and I want to see Ash versus Jason versus Freddy. We still got a gap, and it has to.
Yes. That has to happen. I'm 100% down with that. You know, anything that has Bruce Campbell back in the saddle of any kind of acting role, I support.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you know that they were going to bring Pinhead into the mix too for that?
I think that would have been amazing. That would have been a great idea. I think they should have implemented him in Jason Goes to Hell. That would have made more sense.
Yeah, that'd have been cool. Like there was like an actual script written with Pinhead. He's the one that brings them out, you know, from hell and shit. And I don't know too much else about it, but I would love to find that script and just read through it just to see what could have happened, you know?
Yeah, and I would have to assume that Pinhead and the Cenobites would probably accept Jason for who he is. You know what I'm saying? Would kind of bring him into the fold. Or maybe the same thing with Freddy, you know? I think that, I don't know how that would play out, because Jason and Freddy are both operating at the same level of pain that Pinhead is, but, you know, who knows how that would have played out.
Yeah, they almost tried to put Pinhead on a pedestal, you know, but he's not even my favorite, so I wouldn't even go to bat for him at all. But
yeah, I feel like all like the gothic kids love Hellraiser, you know, because of the whole Clive Barker using all that bondage gear and stuff. It just really fit to that underground scene, you know. So I think that really helped carry Hellraiser, especially when it came out. You know, that stuff was real popular, you know. So it's not as popular as it once was. So I don't think Hellraiser has that same cult following that it did, you know, except for maybe some of the older people. But I think that played a part.
Yeah, you know, the kill scenes are about the only redeemable part of those movies. The first two are the only ones I really fuck with. The other ones I'll take or leave.
The third? I like the third one, Hell on Earth, where he starts creating all the other Cenobites. You got the fucking DVD head who's like spitting DVDs. That shit's hilarious.
Maybe I missed that one.
You got Butterball, the big huge blobber dude.
Which one's Bloodlines? Is that the second one?
Oh no, I think that Bloodline isn't that like the
That's
fifth?
Later on. I might have missed the third one and just went to like some of the later ones, because
Hell on Earth is legit, bro. Hell on Earth is like a classic horror, borderline comedy kind of thing going on there.
Okay,
it's good. It's good.
So the story's not all fucked up.
Nah, this dude owns a nightclub and he like gets the statue because he's like some douchebag rich guy, and then he's like exploring all these different, you know, sexual things, and he discovers this and he heard the stories, and then he releases the Cenobites, and mayhem.
I'll have to pull that out of my collection. I got them all, so fuck it. Yeah. Well, let's agree to disagree, because I knew that we wouldn't come to a verdict on this. I just had to get some things out about the whole Freddy versus Jason thing. It'll never be settled, I don't think. I think there's too many variables in the mix. How weird is it, though, that in the dream world, when Jason's about to swing on Freddy and he gets stopped by the water, like that was something that would fuck with them? I thought that was weird, because we've seen him kill in the water tons of times.
We've seen him live in the water until a psychic girl released him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I didn't understand that. Yeah, I was like, unless Freddy was somehow manipulating his mind as well, you know,
it's possible.
You know, playing off of his fear, projecting his fear, I should say. But yeah, that never settled with me either. I couldn't understand that, because like we just said, you know, he's been in water plenty of times. I mean, Manhattan, he's like hanging onto the back of a boat for God knows how long.
That fucking movie. Right on. Well, who won? I guess we'll never know.
All right, we are back after that little break, and we are going to dive into one of my favorite franchises of all time. The one, the only, Sleepaway Camp.
Such a good movie.
Camp Arawak.
I mean, movies, they're all fucking great. Every single one of them. Except, well, that one that's a compilation of all the other ones. That one we're not talking about, because fuck that shit.
Yeah. Part 4.
I just watched them all this week, except for Return to Sleepaway Camp, which, to my understanding, is that the only one that you watched this week?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched them all so many times. I'm pretty well versed on them, except 2 and 3 sometimes blend together, just because, you know, they were made so closely. I almost think they were made using the same set. You know, like they're very similar.
The biggest difference is Angela's hair is more 80s in the third one.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, let's dive in.
So I want to say how I got introduced to this is pretty fun. I had never heard of Sleepaway Camp ever. Never heard of the movie ever. And then I had just started dating who I'm now married to, Katie. And we were staying at her friend's house, who she was living there at the time, and he was super into horror movies. And he had like a whole collection. This is before I even started working on my collection. I had like maybe 2 horror movies to my name on DVD, and he had just a shit ton. And she pulled out Sleepaway Camp. She had already seen it. And she didn't pull out the first one, she pulled out the second one. And she said, we got to watch this. It's really good, because we both love Friday the 13th. We were always watching that. So we decided to switch it up. And we watched the second one first, and then we watched the third one, because the second one was so fucking good. And then we went and watched the first one last. So we watched them completely out of order. So I didn't pick up on any of the hints in the dialogue about Angela's condition. And so by the end of the first one, the surprise still got me, you know, the twist ending to it,
Yeah.
which is why the movie is so revered as a classic, is because of that twist ending, which we can get into more here. But I just thought that was really interesting that I went 2, 3, and then back to 1 and still got that shock. And it almost made it better. It was like the Star Wars effect where you're watching stuff out of order. You know,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really cool. Great movies, though.
I got introduced to Sleepaway Camp through my uncle. He knew that I was really into horror, and his favorite movie of all time was Sleepaway Camp. And he had given it to me. He had it in his collection, and I watched it, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what I love. You know, coming off of The Burning, you know, I'd watched The Burning first, and obviously Friday the 13th. And, you know, Sleepaway Camp got a lot of hate because it was revered as nothing more than a Friday the 13th ripoff, which at the surface, sure, it might look like that, but it carries so much more than Friday the 13th, the first one. In my opinion, I think that it's a better story. I think that the cast is better, even though Friday the 13th had Kevin Bacon and some people, you know, but I
The
like
acting was better, too, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it felt like you're really at the 80s camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You're really at that camp and witnessing this stuff. Like, it just seemed so well-rounded for what it was.
Yeah, they did such a good job, and that's one thing that I resent about a lot of the Friday the 13th sequels, is that there's never, aside from the 6th movie, there's never any kids at the camps. It's always just like houses that are on the lake, you know, so it doesn't really carry the same camp vibe as much. The 6th one does, but not even that much in that one either, you know, there's not very many kids.
Yeah, I really enjoy the first Sleepaway Camp, every aspect of it, you know, the shock ending, like that was just a tack on, you know. Even if the movie didn't have that, I would still enjoy it. If it just turned out that it was just Angela without that, you know, dude looked like a lady stuff at the end, I would have still enjoyed it perfectly fine. I think that was just like a little added extra bonus of shock factor, you know, which it worked, but, you know, even without that, I think the movie holds its own.
We should have gave a spoiler alert before we started this one, because there's probably some people who haven't seen it. I'm gonna say right now, if you haven't seen the movie, maybe go watch it, because we're spoiling a big twist at the end here, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
one thing that now that I gave the spoiler alert, I can go on and say this: that end scene there was apparently some college dude wearing a plaster mold of Angela's face. That's why she held that or looked like she held the expression for so long. It's because it was just a mask. And the guy who did the scene apparently had to get plastered himself, super drunk, just to fucking film the scene. He's just in the part where Angela's sitting on the ground.
that's so good.
And right before that, the part where Angela's sitting on the ground, she's like rocking back and forth with the head in her arms. If you look under the bleachers just beyond her, you can see something white kind of moving up and down. It's the guy. It's the college kid getting dressed, you know, getting ready.
Oh, what? That's hilarious. That they're like, well, they must have been like crunched for time or something, not to edit that or reshoot. They're like, I don't know. That's funny though. That's what I love about those old movies, is you catch the imperfections. And I think to me, like that's just gives it more, you know. I hold that more closely when I see those small imperfections in films.
Yeah, I think the whole thing was pretty rushed. I think they threw out the whole storyboard for it and just kind of winged it for the most part. You know, guerrilla filmmaking at its finest, but it still turned out pretty cinematic, really well shot. A couple other things too. Did you know that, you know how they do the Friday the 13th thing where you can't see the killer, but you see their POV and you see the hands coming out and grabbing and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's Ricky's hands, that whole movie.
The kid?
Yeah, the kid that the head counselor thought it was.
Yeah, her
Cousin.
Yeah, cousin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was his hands in the whole movie, but they make, you know, it's technically it's Angela's hands. So.
Yeah. No, that I didn't know that. That's awesome.
So, in your opinion, Felicia Rose or Pamela Springsteen? Yeah, no. Is that it?
Oh, from Friday the 13th?
Not Pamela.
Oh, from the sequel? Oh, 100% Felicia Rose. Yeah, Rose, 100%. I wish they would have brought her back for the sequels. That's just me. I think it's just like played the part more. Like, the other Angela is like really quirky and loud spoken, which I think wasn't her character in the first movie. So I didn't really understand it as much. Like I felt like the second one didn't carry the same atmosphere.
Dude, that's exactly what Felicia Rose had said. She apparently read the script for the second one and she thought it was too comedic and not like Angela. She just couldn't understand this new Angela, so she didn't want to take the part. So then they went with Pamela Springsteen, Bruce Springsteen's sister, I believe. Crazy, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And she played the part for what it became, I thought, really well. Killed it. Felicia Rose all the way, though. So the fact that she comes back, you know, later on in the, you know, Return to Sleepaway Camp, that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
At the very end there.
Second and third ones definitely are more supposed to be funny. They're good, don't get me wrong. You know, I like that how afterwards they closed down the camp, but then some privatized people bought it as like a reform camp for bad kids, you know, to get sent to, which that was a great premise. And I was super, like, I'm not disappointed in the movie, but they could have made it so much cooler if they would have stuck with like whodunit factor thing going on. You know, and it didn't even technically have to be Angela's return. It could have just been, you know, almost in like an anthology style of like whodunit. And I would have supported that. But I think they just wanted to carry on Angela, try to create like a icon, which they did, you know, but I don't think they needed to for the second and third one. If they were going to, they should have kept the same ideology and mannerisms as Angela in the first one. Because then it kind of, like, when you watch them, you kind of just like, what's going on? Like, it's like a whole new person, not like just actor-wise, but like personality-wise. Like,
yeah,
that's something that
she's completely different. But what you said about the whodunit factor, that's why I like Return to Sleepaway Camp, the fourth one, so much, is because you don't know who it is. It feels so much like the original. It's very much like the first one. Plus, it has Felicia Rose back in it doing a cameo. I like the character too, the special needs kid, you know, who's always messing with the frogs and stuff. I loved his character just because it added a weird dynamic to the whole movie that brought tension in and drama in a fun way.
See, I watched that movie last night to refresh, you know, and it is. So let me say this. It does carry some of the same aspects as the first movie. Here's the things that I love about it. I love that they have Chef Isaac fucking Hayes dressed as Chef from South Park.
Yes.
Wearing the same exact outfit as Chef from South Park for no reason at all.
It's so random, but it's perfect.
Yeah, like what? The fact that they bring Ricky back. So Ricky, her cousin, he's like working at a construction site. Okay, but my favorite is they bring that D'Angelo guy, the guy who played Rodney, the camp counselor from the first one, and they brought him back. He's like, I don't know, he's gotta be like 50, 60 years old. He's only still all muscular. I'm like, no way, yo. Like, I love those things, but as far as the story and the acting and everything else, I thought it was bad. It was not good. It was very hard for me to stay entertained and actually invest into the main kid, especially. Man, I found the kid just almost annoying in that aspect of just his mannerisms, the way he just spouted things off. And I know it's supposed to be funny, but I think that they just over pushed that. It's real hard for me to get behind a movie when like the main character is somebody that I just find like, I don't care if this guy lives or dies. You know, I would much rather me have been able, like, even when he's getting made fun of, getting picked on and getting beat up and all this, and the way he reacts to it makes you go, yeah, he kind of deserved that. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even feel bad.
Have you ever known someone like that? Because I've known people like that before.
Yeah, I have, and it's nothing against them, you know, I just let them do their own thing, you know, I'm not going to invest into their life like that, but.
I mean, for me, it kept me interested. You're right, he's very annoying, but it still kept me interested, because part of me wanted to believe he was the killer, and then part of me was like, should he get killed himself? Because he might have it coming. He's kind of an asshole.
I hated 95% of all the dialogue exchanges in that movie. It was like, some of them were so unnatural. Like, my favorite part in the movie is when it starts and those kids are lighting their farts on fire. And the kid's like, what are you guys doing, making fun of me? For absolutely no reason at all. He just says that. And they're like, no, we're just lighting farts. That was pure gold. That was awesome. But a lot of the like talking back and forth, it was like seemed really forced. Like, I don't know what it was about that. Like, it did not have the same chemistry between the actors as the first one did. Like, the mean girls, like, that, it seemed like unnaturally mean, you know, like, to him. And yeah, a lot of the conversation just felt forced.
I can see that. Yeah, the acting was below par. It was bad.
It was very bad.
I kind of, I took it for what it was, but everything else besides that I still liked about it. Overall, I recommend it. So, but it is. I
wish that the kills were a little bit more. Some of them kills are really bad. You know, like some of them are really bad. Like the stoner guy getting fried. Like, that was okay, but I wish that they would have done more. Or like, here's one. So, in the original, the chef, he gets boiled. And then in this one, the chef, instead of getting boiled, he gets fried. Like French fried, you know, in grease. And I'm like, all right, I see what you're doing there, you know, like you're giving a little throwback to it. But it wasn't done nearly as cool. So like the original one, the chef was like, whoa, you know, and you believe that this guy's actually in trouble. Like something's about, you know, he's fighting for his life. The other guy, he's just repeating the word, fuck off. Or like, what the fuck, what the fuck. He like says it like 20 times, or, you know, I'm exaggerating, but he says it a lot. And at this point, he's like, dude, just fall in already. It's like 5 minutes of this guy struggling. And it's like, okay, dude, come on. Like, we know what's going to happen. Just put him in already.
God, I wish I could have watched it. That movie is not on anything. It's not streaming anywhere, not even to rent. I would have rented it this week, but it's not available. DVD is like the only way you're going to watch that fucking movie. If you can get lucky enough to find it on DVD.
Yeah, so, I got mine on DVD. I got everything on DVD.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm growing my collection every day.
Yeah, did I bring you Sleepaway Camp?
Yeah, you got me the sequels. I had the first one, but I never had 2 or 3, and I couldn't find them. And
I had some extras.
Yeah, this motherfucker came all the way from Michigan and sold me a box of horror movies, like rare-ass DVDs and shit.
Yeah, I never pass up anything. If I'm at anywhere, pawn shop, whatever, I see a movie that I know is worth something or is, you know, hard to find, I'm going to drop the $2, $3 every time. I don't care if I got 8 copies of it.
Yeah, I just told you about the deal I got last week at a record store. I got like 10 VHS tapes, like classic horror movies for $1 each, man. And they're all worth like $70 or more. And I got a copy of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch still in the plastic wrap.
Ooh, VHS?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. People don't understand, you know, people who aren't into that don't realize that there's some value in it.
Yeah. No, I mean, one day that shit's gonna be worth a lot. I mean, tapes degrade over time. DVDs don't. You fucking keep a DVD forever. Either way, material objects like that are valuable. It's like
And
we were saying, in the apocalypse, they're going to be currency.
And I will never not buy a movie. Like just, oh, it's available on streaming. I don't care. I want the special features. That's my favorite part. I love seeing how things are made.
That reminds me, special features. Apparently on the DVD of Sleepaway Camp 1, on like the main menu, there's like a fingerprint or something. Apparently you can scroll up to that and click it and you get like a little Easter egg treat from it.
Oh, I never knew that.
I haven't tested it, but I heard
it's a close-up of the end scene.
Just full Wang in the screen.
Full Wang right there. Yeah, I would do that if I directed that movie. That's hilarious.
That would be fucking priceless.
All right, we are back at once again from the little break. And this time, we're going to review a movie.
Yeah,
recommend it.
Project Wolf Hunting.
Yes. Now, this is coming all the way from overseas, from Korea. And if anybody who knows me personally or follows me, you guys know I love Korean movies. I absolutely am invested into Korean cinema. They are some of the most creative and original idea films I've seen in the past 5 years, easily. I mean, you can see from Train to Busan, Squid Games, how they're finally getting recognition over there for their ability to make a good on-screen cinematic movie or show or whatever. But man, you guys really should dive into some of these films that they have. And this one right here, Project Wolf Hunting, mwah.
Good for a wart. This is going to be a spoiler-free review to start, and then we'll let you guys know before we start spoiling everything and give you a chance to pause it and go watch the movie and then come back. So with that being said, let's talk about this without giving too much away.
Yes. Okay, so Project Wolf Hunting. By the name, the name does not paint the picture of what this movie is. So pretty much, you start off, you got a bunch of prisoners who are being shipped from one country back to Korea. And it plays off like that. You know, you got the prisoners getting loaded up into a ship, and then it goes into mayhem, and then deeper into outworld mayhem.
Now, really quick, what you said about the title, because I don't want you guys to get your hopes up. If you think this is a werewolf movie about lycanthropes and shit, it's not. Don't get your hopes up. I went into this completely blind, didn't know anything about it. Halfway through the movie, I text this motherfucker, and I'm like, dude, where's the fucking werewolves? Is this just a fucking werewolf movie? So, yeah, don't get your hopes up if you think it's not what you think it is.
It isn't. It's not. And even when you like somewhat know about what it is going into it, it's still not what you think it is.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, a roller coaster ride, you know?
It really is. And once it starts, it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
that's what I love about some of these Korean films, is they don't let their foot off the gas. You know, they just keep going and going and going. You might have a little downtime between for character development, but then it's right back at you.
Yeah, it's super gruesome. I will say that it is bloody. Like,
bloody.
Non-stop guts and gore. It's almost desensitizingly fucking gory.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's 100% like every single kill is just, you know, like it's just over the top. Even from like the simple just smacking somebody in the head with a wrench, it's just like, psh.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that. I love splatter films, so.
And they show everything. I don't think I can think of one kill that wasn't shown. Every blade incision, every gunshot or whatever, every bludgeoning, everything is shown in full detail, and you're just like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, it's so good. It's really good film. And it went super under the radar. So when it came out, I actually seen a DVD copy at Walmart, and I didn't pick it up just because I was in passing, and I should have.
You saw that in Walmart?
I saw it at Walmart, and I was like, And at the time, I hadn't watched the movie yet. It was just on my radar, you know? And then when I came home, I watched it maybe a week later, and I was like, oh, man, why did I buy that? Oh, man, I should have bought that, because now I want to see the special features behind it. It's so good. I want to know how they made that. Was that a real ship that they were shooting in? or was that like constructed inside of a movie studio? Because the set was incredible. Like, it was really good.
It was, though. No, it really was. I completely just drew a blank on what the fuck I was going to say. Give me a second here. I'm going to think of it. That's what the weed does to your brain.
Oh, yeah. That's why I don't touch the devil's lettuce.
No, you're all about the acid. You'd rather trip and fucking... Yeah.
Yep. And watch horror movies with a notepad. Yep. That's me.
Straight up.
These are the type of movies I watch while I'm gone.
That was just enough time.
What the fuck?
I remember what I was going to say.
All right.
Just enough time. So he mentioned that it's a Korean film, right? So it is dubbed. It's not, you don't have to worry about subtitles or anything. But the voice acting in it is really good. Wait,
really you watched? Where'd you find a dub version? I've only watched the Korean sub version.
Oh, what? Dude,
yeah,
you gotta go. I rented it on YouTube.
Oh, that's crazy. See, yeah. I use a actual site from, over there. I have to use Google Translator to even access and understand the site. So
yeah, I mean, it's the voice acting is really good on the dub, dude. It's
damn. Now I really want to watch the dub version. I've never seen the dub version.
You don't even notice. Like, it does that thing where, sometimes on dub films it looks like the lips still match what they're saying. It's like that. You just don't.
The Korean dub movies that I have seen are executed so well, and I'm always like, wow. Like Train to Busan, the dub version for that is great.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's a fucking good one. I was surprised by that. Because that was on Netflix. And Netflix.
What'd you think of the sequel?
I just never seen the sequel. I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, Peninsula.
Okay, I'll check that one out. The first one is great, though. But I was surprised because, again, it was on Netflix. And Netflix.
There's a prequel, too. There's a prequel, but it's an anime. It's an animated movie called Soul Station. Also really good. Yup. So there's 3 of them in that little series.
Anyway, so back to Project Wolf Hunting. I think we've said enough. If you like a movie with high brutality, shows everything, is just a wild ride with twists and turns and shit, unexpected reveals, then this is the movie for you. Now we're going to spoil the shit out of it, so pause this podcast, and go watch it, then come back here and hear what we got to say about it. Enokh, let's go.
All right, so starting off, it starts off as your normal, prison movie, and then my favorite character, the guy who's covered in the peacock tattoos all over his body, spits on a bobby pin, gets his handcuffs undone, and then it goes to 100 instantly. He starts off bashing dude's skull in, and then he eats half of the guy's face off, the cop's face. Delicious. And then you find out that the chefs or the mechanics or whatever these people are on the ship actually got murdered before the ship left the port by the gang of that tattooed guy. So they had snuck on a bunch of heavy artillery, like ridiculous guns. And my favorite part is when these guys, the gang members are all dressed up in their like chef uniforms or whatever, and they're carrying the guns, and they bump the wall, and the cops all look at them, and the other, one of the criminals slaps the other one. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing? I told you to hide that." And this guy has like this air gun, right? Like a doof, doof. I don't even know what the heck that was. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He just like runs over, he like hits that cop in the forehead and just starts smashing his brains out.
He bludgeons him. I think my favorite and most memorable kill is back when the tattooed guy was killing the cop, right when he just got free, and he takes the knife after the cop is pretty much dead, and he takes the knife and just slowly presses it into him, just
ever so slowly, and then steals his cigarettes and then pisses on him.
Yeah, smokes his cigarettes and drops his pants and just pisses on the body while he's smoking his cigarettes. There's no fucks given.
Ruthless.
Yeah.
Right. So they killed the cops that are guarding the prisoners. Right. There's only maybe 6 of them, right, or maybe a little bit more. They released all the prisoners, right? And so all the prisoners are like, well, we're just all going to join with this guy and take over the ship and turn the ship around. We're not going back to Korea. We're not doing that. And down below, there's something brewing that nobody is expecting. A mutated super soldier prisoner. And the design of this guy is insane. They got him.
He's
go
my
ahead.
favorite part of the whole movie because once he comes out, then it kind of transitions more into horror because he's like a brute. He's like Jason without the machete, but he moves fast and he just rips people apart, literally.
Bro. So there's like this part where they have a standoff between the cops and the prisoners down in like the mechanic room, the engine room, if you would, of the ship. And there's this guy who's like trying to escape. He's like running up the stairs. He's like, and he catches this kick right to the chest. Just blows his whole chest out, and he flies like 20 yards.
Yeah, because this motherfucker is this thing that they had in the basement. He's a dude from like the early 1900s or something like that, and he's like a super soldier. I think he died maybe and came back, so he's a little rusty or something. But he's like, so he has all these superpowers that he will not
super strength,
and he's super athletic and fast. And they basically put like wolf DNA or something in his body to kind of give him these abilities. Hence the name wolf hunting. He's not
and
a
his
fucking
eyes
werewolf.
are stapled shut with like roofing staples.
Yeah, so he can't even see. He's just going off of what he hears and shit.
He has like this heat vision thing going on though, where he can like sense the heat signatures.
Like predator vision, kind of.
Yep, exactly. And this dude, he doesn't give a fuck. He's killing the prisoners and the cops all the same. Smashing heads with sledgehammers, punching through people. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, so throughout this movie, you got the cops trying to kill the prisoners are killing cops, and then this fucking guy comes out of bumfuck nowhere and starts bashing everybody up, and now everybody's just trying to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to hide from that guy, which isn't going too well, because he's just tearing everybody in half.
What is this?
And then you find out that there's more like him, but these ones are controlled. These ones are normal guys.
It's almost like they got the formula better over the last 100 years, and now they can actually make these super soldiers and not have them go crazy on people.
Yeah, so there's like the CIA level type of intelligence agency that's monitoring the ship.
I think it was Yakuza.
Yeah, and at first you think, okay, it's just they're monitoring the prisoners. Then you realize, no, they're monitoring the transport of that super soldier guy. And he, like, the guy who's in the room there is also one of those super soldier dudes. And he calls up another super soldier guy who's getting some pleasure and it snaps the neck of whoever is, giving him some pleasure. And then...
That was pretty fucked up. That was a fucked up scene. I was like, what is going on here? And then just like kills the guy who's sucking his dick. I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude, it snaps his neck and his...
For no reason.
For no reason.
He's like on the phone getting his dick sucked, and he's just like, fuck this guy. Must have fucking used teeth or something.
I was like, what the fuck? And then it has some flashbacks to like the 1920s Imperial Japan when they're testing out this serum or whatever, and he, murders all the doctors and all this stuff. It doesn't really show how they capture him again, does it? It just kind of shows him locked in that room, right?
At the very end?
No, when they do the flashback. Showing the development of that guy. I don't think it did. Well, anyways, so it kind of skips over that. But anyways, they got him in this new container, and he's like laying down with the oxygen mask on, and somehow some blood drips on him, like the Necronomicon, and then it comes to life, and
that's how it happens. Just one drop of blood kicks everything off.
And then the Secret Service guys come in, the guys who are hired by the other super soldiers to catch this super soldier, and they have like this injection, right, that gives them temporary powers of like that guy. So they start putting up a fight with him.
Yeah, and they honestly didn't last that long still.
No, no, he's the OG, and he's snapping them.
I fucking love the movie. I thought that, like I said, it desensitizes you to the kills like a quarter of the way through. You've already seen so much death that they just don't hit you the same way. Except the one part where the guy gets his knees cut off, or he gets cut off at the knees, and he just drops over.
Yeah.
I love that part, dude. Shit's dope. But,
yeah, and I'm not even mad at them for desensitizing it, because it just makes it just such a high-octane, fun ride,
Yeah, overall, I would have to give it like a 7 out of 10 because I wouldn't recommend it to just anybody. It's a very specific type of film. I I don't know. I almost think it's more action than horror in a way. I mean, the blood in the super soldier guy is what lends itself to horror. But beyond that, it's more of like an action gangster type movie, which is nothing wrong with. But yeah, I would, for my personal taste, give it like a 7.
Yeah, I give it an 8, just because I'm a huge fan of Korean cinema, and I love the originality of it. You know, it's just something you don't see every day. You know, here over in America, man, we get the same whitewashed stuff over and over again. It's just a breath of fresh air to sit back and watch a movie that will take you for a ride that you don't know what's going to happen. You know, like a lot of these movies I watch now coming out over here, I'm just like, okay, I already know what this is. You know, I like with Thanksgiving, I knew who was behind it from the very jump, you know, and not taking away anything from that. That's a good movie. But, you know, I like to be like, what the hell is going on? And that movie did an excellent job of keeping me on my toes.
Yeah, for sure, dude. That is Project Wolf Hunting. So if you're at this part of the podcast, you probably already watched it. Let us know in the comments if you guys like it. If you're watching this on YouTube, that is. Yeah, overall, good movie. I mean, I don't think we have a bad track record of reviews so far. We've fucked with all the ones that we've done. I think we're going to have to start.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to find some newer ones that are like in theaters that we can really give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll have to plan and actually go see some of these movies in theaters, and hope we didn't waste our money.
All right, guys. That's episode 3 of Rotten Rewind. I'm Bill Fortune.
I'm Enokh Xmortiz.
And we will see you guys again in a couple weeks. Peace.
Peace.